Let's see. There we are. Hello, everyone. I told you guys I was going to do a stream so that I could actually, rebuild my computer into a new case because this thing is ancient. This is a Cooler Master high airflow case, and I've had it for a long time, and someone else owned it before I owned it. So today we're putting it into a new Corsair case. So yeah, I did my best to try and set this up so that I can get this done, but I'm in my living room, so I'm also have to try to make it quick because once the husband gets home, I don't want to interfere with his ability to move around the house. There we go. Who are you calling Brandon? Miguel Fuentes, hi, what's up? Okay, there we go. We're set up. I wish I could make this thing taller because it's making me look all hunched over and stuff. Let's reposition the legs a little bit. Let's see what we can do. There we go. It's gonna have to do. My tripod can't get any taller. But anyway, so for those of you who have never built a PC before, an anti-static wrist strap is not optional. You could destroy your RAM if you don't have one of these things and other sensitive components that can be damaged by static electricity. Considering the price of RAM right now, have one of these. Do it. Best thing to do with it is to attach it to a little screw or something, or a bare piece of metal. It's directly attached to your PSU, which is your power supply unit. So we are going to clip it onto this little screw, which is attached to the power supply unit, to keep any static electricity from building up on my person. And you'll always want to have your PSU switch to the off position. That's the O. And make sure that it's actually plugged into the wall, because that's going to catch any static electricity that you cast, and that static electricity is going to go directly into a power outlet because it's grounded. This protects you from damaging your computer and protects you from your computer damaging you with electricity. So yeah, this is a must. This is not an optional kind of thing. You guys might think that I'm like a gloriously organized person, but I'm not going to lie to you, I am not. The inside of this computer case is an absolute mess. Not just with dust, but my cable management is pretty bad. Always has been. And now my GPU that's in there is literally fitting in with about a 2 millimeter gap in the space. So we are going to start by detaching these fans that are on this front faceplate because they're going into the new case and have to be cleaned. And they're going to fall when I take them out because the only thing holding them in place is these screws. Sometimes it's better to do your computer laying down. Unfortunately, my apartment is not like my last place that I was living in, because it had a garage and I had a whole work table I could do stuff like this on. But we don't have that here no more. Where's chat? I want to see all chat messages. There we go. Jaffa, good to see you. How you doing, buddy? Are you doing fabulous, my friend? Let's see. This is why I kind of wanted somebody to join, because I'm in the streaming channel in our friend group Discord, and I was kind of hoping one of them would join and be my text-to-speech person reading out chat to me. But they're all kind of busy right now because Redline maintenance just got finished and the server's back up. And with my luck being the way it is, of course, maintenance was over and the server came back up right as I left the house to go get some dusters to clean out the inside of this thing before I put the parts into the new tower. Which Discord? The fabulous Discord, the Misfits. Why? Because you want to join in chat, Jaffa? Because I'm super cool with that. Be my text-to-speech guy. Hear your glorious voice again. It's been too long. I mean, I'm in there. Hopefully it works like it did last time I went live, and I'll be able to hear Discord while I'm doing this, much like because it worked when I was when I did a cooking stream for Thanksgiving in 2024, and I'm kind of hoping it's going to work the same way now. I got it. I got the screw. But now the fans are falling off. Yep, there they go. I knew it was going to happen. I'm not even remotely surprised. Fans, I'm not really worried about. There's some other sensitive electronics in here that it's not okay to play with. Don't mess around when it comes to your PC. PC is an expensive piece of equipment, and you want to take care of it. Okay, now we move this ancient thing out of the way. Set it down there. Beautiful case. I love this thing. I'm probably going to keep it. Might even turn it into a prop or something. But like this thing is ancient. We have old drive racks. We have disk drive racks. There's dust literally floating out of the case. Wow. Dang. Anyway, so we're going to completely redo the cable management when we move all this stuff out of here. But first things first, we got to get all these cables and wires out of the way. First of all, probably best bet is to go ahead and get this hub out. If I can remember how it's plugged in, like where the plugs go. This one is for the AIO. Okay, so this one is power for the actual water cooler that cools the CPU. Let's see. Let me check and see if Discord is working, if anybody joins, but yeah. With that disconnected, now I just need to get this thing overall unplugged from the computer itself. And that power cable is on the other side of the GPU, so the GPU's got to come out next. This thing has a really complicated power setup because of what an amazing piece of equipment it is. So now that those are all, I can do that with those. Let's see here. And I have to undo these power cables and probably pull them out of the way because getting this thing in here alone was a nightmare. This is a brick. It is a mighty and powerful beast of equipment. This is the new video card I promised you guys. And now it's in there. Now, it's only been in there for like a week and now it's getting transplanted into a new case. Isn't that amazing? Moving this whole thing as a single unit is probably a great idea, but not the best idea in the world. So we're actually going to go ahead and just disconnect all this. This is a specialized hub that controls ASUS TUF fans. The nice thing the reason I love ASUS TUF products so much is because they are military grade spec hardware. If you want something durable and functional, you want ASUS TUF. There we go. Now with the hub disconnected, everything else is disconnected too. I'll take this little power gizmo and get it down and out of the way. Gonna get those fan cables out the way. Wonderful. It's also the style of them. I just love the style of ASUS TUF products. They look so cool to me. So being able to rebuild a whole PC out of it was just like, yes! 100% on my list of things I wanted to do. So almost the entirety of the inside of this computer is an ASUS TUF product. The RAM is Corsair and the power supply is Corsair, of course, because you can always rely on Corsair for those things. But the AIO, the motherboard, the GPU, the fans, the cooler, all ASUS TUF. Even the fan controller. I love this. I love this stuff. Now, since these are detached, I can set them aside so that we can get to cleaning them. But first, I need to get this guy out of the top of the case. So we are going to take out the AIO, which I'm probably not even going to disconnect from the motherboard. I'm going to try to move it all as a single solid piece, which is really complicated, but we're going to go ahead and actually pause. It'll be a much better and safer idea to get this GPU out of here first, which is going to be very tricky. Because getting it in was very tricky, getting it out going to be just as tricky. There's a lot of special lock mechanisms and stuff that's inside of this thing that makes getting your parts to stay in place great, but again, this case is so old that it's just not viable anymore because it builds with how much airflow my case has. This thing builds up dust so fast, and regular cleaning is very difficult with how complicated all of its components are. So now we got to get this guy to come free. There we go. Now that was the easy part, getting it loose. Getting it out, that's the hard part. But with a few things out of the way, a little tilt and roll, It's literally acrobatics to get this thing out because of how big it is. The new case, this shouldn't really be that big of an issue. Metal plate that came loose that decided it wanted to get in the way. That's out of the way now. Ah, come on. And drive latch is blocking it too. Come on. There we go. All right. Big, beautiful beast is clear. Look at that. 5070, like I promised you guys. We made that happen. Okay, got this little guy here. This is a PCIe expansion card that I got to add additional spaces for, there we go, additional USB ports, because I have a lot of accessories, including some gaming controllers that I like to use that allow me to work with my hands better. Okay. This actually does feel very laborious, just for the record. Now this little guy, this is the stand for that GPU. This thing is actually a screwdriver as well. So we set that close by because we're going to need that. And now it's time to get this whole motherboard out. I'm going to say I kind of feel like I should have done the teardown video on its own and then done the rebuild as the new one, because as great as this is, as much as I'm loving the idea of doing this, I really wish it wasn't going to take so long. Because I'm going to have to refigure out where all the cables and everything go again. And we're eliminating the disk drive and all that stuff. And we're going to be reliant completely on the M.2 drive, which is under this shield right here. Pretty sure that's where I put it. That would have to be where I put it, because where else would I put it? I mean, I'm right? I'm not insane. But no, I would say there's no 100% correct way to build a computer. In my case, I have done it in my own pattern, in my own style, my whole life. So I see no reason to, not to worry about, you got to do this first, you got to do that first, it has to be this way, it has to be that way. It's simply not the case. You can build a computer in whatever steps and stages you want. You can take it apart however you like. I'm doing it this way because this just feels right as I'm going. I'm 100% winging it. Okay, so because I don't want to take the AIO off, because then I have to redo the paste on the GPU or on the CPU and stuff like that. That's very important. You always want to have good paste on your CPU. Let's go ahead and get all the power management disengaged and stuff like that, the case plug and whatnot. It's a lot of little things here and there, cables and such, that have to come off of your computer if you really want to be able to use it properly. Now this, I want to try to remember. On the top, we got the green and the white, and then you know what? We'll figure it back out. We will figure it back out after we're done. This is an auxiliary cable that was for the fan controller and stuff like that. This guy, I don't even remember what this guy is. Another fan controller component, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, it looks exactly like what that is. That's going to go over there. This is the audio plug right there. That comes out. These are USB plugs down here so that you can use the front USB ports on your case. And I don't remember what this guy is, but he's gone now. The new case is a lot more user-friendly. This thing, like I said, is ancient. It's built older style. It functions older style. So this was the AIO pump controllers, and the middle one on the top, and this one was on the left on the top. And this is the fan speed controller cable. Yes. Remembering all these things 100%, not the end of the world if you forget it, okay? There are plenty of ways to look up resources and millions of people who are happy to help. There's Reddit. There's all kinds of different things that you can use to get this information back if you happen to go, well, I don't remember where that thing in my computer goes. And this guy. This one's a complicated one because it is one of those pressure plate guys to get it to release motherboard power right there. There we go. That's an old cable, so that's actually going to end up staying inside this old case because we are replacing all of the cables with brand new ones that came with the new power supply unit. I just had to swap my power supplies, do a hot swap, and it was not the best thing in the world that I did it because you are supposed to change out your cables when you change out your power supply unit, and I failed to do that. But I was just desperate to get the computer back up and running because we had a sudden death of the power supply unit last year, and that was the start of rebuilding this whole thing. Well, I take that back. Christmas 2024 is when my husband got me this new motherboard and another computer component. I can't remember which one it was. I think he might have been the one who got me my AIO, possibly. Something like that. And I got myself the new CPU and the RAM and stuff to go with it. So this has been a planned project for a while. And we're finally doing it. We are finally updating this computer. The new spec. All right. Now, case is open. Just about everything is detached. Is the motherboard moving yet? It's being held in place somewhere. There, right there, that little screw right there. Okay. And there's another one on the middle on the opposite side. All right, cool. I am going to go get the duster cans. I'm going to start blowing this out. So if you have to remove your anti-static wrist strap to walk away, it has this little button on it. You can disconnect it. I'm going to disconnect that and leave it a good distance away because of how far static electricity can jump. All right, cool. And before I even come back to the computer, we plug our anti-static wrist strap back in at the button, and we have a seat to continue. So, if I can get the straw off of here. Come on. There we go. All right. So that thing's not in your way. Here we go. We continue. Out. It's got a safety tab. I don't think you guys can see it, but there's a whole lot of dust up in there. Okay. Now, some people will tell you you got to do these in this specific order. You got to do that in that specific order. I'm not those people. I don't know how that works. I don't know why there's a specific pattern to the motherboard screws or anything like that. I don't really believe in that, personally. I feel like getting the job done and getting it done safely ought to be good enough. If you don't lose your computer or damage anything in the process, don't worry about being specific if you're doing this at home. Just make sure you don't miss your important safety steps to avoid damaging your own equipment, because a motherboard like this was pretty cheap last year, and now it's significantly more expensive. There is one more screw right there underneath that M.2 drive plate that's right there, that heatsink. So before we remove that and try to bring the whole thing down, we're going to go ahead and get the AIO down. Mounting your AIO above your GPU is better because your heat is going to travel up and it's going to resonate out of the GPU's water cooling radiator. As long as your fans are blowing air through it, that hot air is just going to go straight up and out. So we're going to go ahead and hold on to this guy. It's held in place with 8 screws, so it's going to take me a minute to get them all done. I don't recommend using a drill. Drills can generate static electricity. Static electricity is bad. It is the bane of your computer. You do not want static electricity. I'll say. I guess I can wait for a second to hold on to literally all of these until after I've actually gotten, most of them out. So we can move a little faster doing this, I suppose. I don't pretend to be an expert. I am not a professional computer builder. I have just been building my own computers for a very long time. Okay, last screw. Now we want to hold on to it. I'm sure you guys saw on the camera that it budged a little bit, and we don't want it to fall. Just like that. Wonderful. Oop, dropped my screwdriver. Thankfully, it got caught on the way down. Now that that is loose, go ahead and see if I am in fact correct, and this is the last screw. If it's not the last screw, I'm going to sit there and go, what else did I screw and where? How did I cause all this?